We're living in the most comfortable era in human history. Food arrives at our door in minutes. We can connect with strangers across the globe in seconds. Entertainment is endless, on demand, and algorithmically tailored to our taste. And yet, something is off. Something is deeply wrong. We're more anxious, more disconnected, more fragile. Our attention span has collapsed. Our relationships feel disposable. And deep down we can sense it. Humanity is becoming weaker. Not in the way we think, not in the "we can't lift heavy things" sense, but in the way that actually determines if we survive as a species. Our mental resilience, our moral backbone, our ability to endure. The age of cheap dopamine. We used to have to work for pleasure, hunt for food, walk miles for water, earn affection through shared struggle. Now, it's a thumb swipe, a click, a buy now button. We've hacked the brain's reward system, but instead of using it for mastery or growth, we flood it with cheap hits. 15-second dopamine loops on TikTok, endless sugar-laced snacks engineered to keep us hooked, porn that bypasses human connection altogether. The problem? Our brain doesn't know the difference between earned dopamine and artificial dopamine. So it stops pushing us to do hard things. Why endure discomfort for long-term fulfillment when you can get a microdose of pleasure instantly? The tragedy? This rewires us to be incapable of delaying gratification, and every great civilization in history collapsed when its people lost that skill. The death of depth. Relationships used to be the fabric of survival. You needed your community, your tribe, your partner, not just for love, but for life itself. Today, dating apps turn humans into trading cards. If a connection requires effort, we swipe to the next option. Friendships are maintained through likes and emojis instead of shared hardship. Even intimacy has been commodified. The blitz dating culture, where people cycle through partners in search of constant novelty, has eroded trust, patience, and the ability to weather relationship storms. We no longer see people as companions for the long road. We see them as entertainment. When they stop stimulating us, we replace them. The masculinity collapse. Men are becoming softer, not in emotion, but in discipline. Testosterone levels have plummeted globally, not just because of lifestyle, but because the environment, culture, and incentives reward passivity. A generation ago, masculinity was tied to responsibility. Provide for your family, stand firm in adversity, lead when others falter. Now, masculinity is confused, mocked, and often vilified. Young men are told to be less of themselves instead of better versions of themselves. Without healthy masculinity, civilizations don't just weaken, they dissolve. Because the energy that builds, protects, and preserves society gets redirected into video games, endless scrolling, and empty pleasures. Gender confusion and identity crisis. For thousands of years, gender roles, while often restrictive, provided structure. Today, the pendulum has swung so far in the opposite direction that many are left in a constant state of identity crisis. Endless online debates about what's valid and what's toxic have left young people more confused than confident. Instead of focusing on building skills, values, and purpose, entire lives are consumed by defining and redefining labels. When identity becomes the goal instead of the foundation, society spends more time arguing than advancing. The death of accountability. We live in a blame culture. Everything is someone else's fault. Parents blame schools, schools blame the government blames the system. And individuals, they blame everything except the person in the mirror. Without personal accountability, you can't fix your life because you never believe it's yours to fix. You wait for someone else to rescue you, while quietly resenting them when they don't. Civilizations crumble not when they lack resources, but when they lack responsibility. And we are living in an era where responsibility is avoided like a disease. The long-term consequences. If nothing changes, here's where we're headed. A generation too addicted to cheap dopamine to build anything lasting. Relationships too fragile to endure hardship. Men and women too disconnected from their biological and psychological strengths to function together. A society where no one feels accountable for its survival. And when the next real crisis hits, war, famine, disaster, we will realize too late. We traded our resilience for convenience. The way back question. We don't have to accept this decline as inevitable. The antidote isn't more outrage, it's more ownership. Here's how it begins. Cut cheap dopamine. Earn your pleasure through effort. Rebuild deep relationships. Choose a few people. Commit fully, weather storms together. Reclaim masculinity and femininity, not in outdated stereotypes, but in healthy, empowering forms. Demand accountability from yourself before anyone else. We can't save the entire world overnight, but we can save ourselves. And enough individuals saving themselves is saving the world. Closing. Humankind isn't doomed because the problems are impossible. We're doomed if we keep pretending they aren't our responsibility. If you're listening to this, maybe you already feel it, that low hum of unease in your soul. That's your signal. That's the part of you that refuses to go quietly into decline. Feed that part, protect it, and let it lead you to a life and a society worth surviving for.